Alejandro Garnacho, you beauty. Take a bow, son. What an absolutely sensational goal from our young Argentinian superstar. You know, every now and then a moment comes around that just takes your breath away. And today, I was lucky enough to witness that moment take place in real time. And I was just lost for words, man. While that goal will rightly take all the headlines from that game, there's another young superstar that I think went under the radar today, and his name is Kobbie Mainoo. He basically ran the defensive and middle thirds of the pitch against some very senior Everton midfielders away from home. And if he comes anywhere near his potential that I've seen today, he will be easily one of the best midfielders we have ever seen wearing a United shirt. So make sure you stay till the end because we're analyzing some interesting clips of Mainoo today that you might have actually missed in real time. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to start with a few clips of Mainoo showing for the ball defensively under pressure and taking it and moving forward. Starting with the second minute of the game where Lindelof is pushing out from a goal kick, and Mainoo you can see as the lone CDM here between 5 Everton players in midfield. As Lindelof sits on it for a couple of seconds, we see Mainoo starting to drop in between Doucouré and Calvert-Lewin in this area over here to actually show for the ball, and he ends up receiving it in that same area over here. When the ball gets to his feet, instead of playing it back to Lindelof or Shaw in these areas over here, Mainoo decides to turn under pressure and progress forward with the ball into this open space over here so that he can actually play the ball forward into either wing. And this little movement right here, his willingness and his fearlessness to just turn and progress the ball forward, or at least try to progress the ball forward, is what we almost never saw the likes of McTominay or Fred do in over 3 years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As we play along, Mainoo finds Martial, who drops into midfield from the attacking line, and he recycles the ball back to the center backs to get the attack started again. But you can see from this clip how Mainoo is willing to show for the ball, willing to receive it under pressure, and willing to play it forward under pressure. Next, in the 6th minute of the game, we see Onana with the ball at the edge of the penalty area, and again you see Mainoo positioning himself between Doucouré and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. As we play it along, again we see Mainoo dropping in between these two to show for the ball, receive it under pressure in this area, and then he also turns to progress the ball forward. As he rides Doucouré's tackle and dribbles forward in this area over here, we see him straight away putting his head up to see what runs are available to him up front. So Mainoo takes a few more steps, he finds his run, and he dinks the ball straight into Garnacho's path over here, as we'll see in a second. And he almost executes it perfectly, except there's just a little bit too much on the ball, so Pickford's able to claim. But you can see here how Mainoo is showing for the ball again, receiving it under pressure, and this time he dribbles forward to play a through ball like this that you normally see the likes of Bruno, Lindelof, and Casemiro play. Next we see Onana with the ball in his box again, and this time he has 3 passing options available to him other than Mainoo at the edge of the box over here, and yet he goes straight to Mainoo, who's being pressed yet again by 2 Everton players right around this area over here in a tight space. But despite that pressure, he plays it out calmly and coolly to Lindelof towards his left, and Lindelof plays it forward to Shaw. But Mainoo's already on his bike to get forward so that Shaw has a forward passing option in this area over here. And this right here, this clip, everything we saw Mainoo do in this clip, they're very small things that you might miss while you're watching the game live. But Mainoo's calmness to make the right pass in a tight area, and then his willingness to get forward, allows United to create this little triangle over here, but it also allows United to beat the Everton press, because if Mainoo gets the ball from Shaw in this area over here, United are already behind 6 Everton players and straight onto their defense, even though the ball's still in our own half. But unfortunately, Shaw ends up getting fouled in this area and the play is broken down. Next we go towards the end of the first half where we see Onana with the ball again in his own box, and Mainoo is yet again in the exact same lone CDM position right in front of him. As Onana plays the ball out to Mainoo, we see Doucouré trying to close the ball down and get after Mainoo in this area over here. But Mainoo doesn't actually let that pressure get to him, and he keeps dribbling forward till he gets into sort of this really tight area of midfield where he's surrounded by these 4 Everton players. Now, in this exact same situation, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you would see someone like McTominay make the easy pass and play it off to their left or to their right and just move forward. But Kobbie Mainoo decides that this isn't good enough, and he dribbles forward and passes it over to Garnacho on the left wing in this area over here. Now, this pass effectively bypasses the entire Everton midfield. I mean, honestly, this kid was born in 2005. He is just 18 and a half years old, for God's sake. To do the things he's doing, to have the kind of vision that he has, the kind of calmness that he has at this age, away from home at a place like Goodison Park, is just next level. His willingness to be present and fearlessness on the ball has me extremely impressed. And I'll say this right now, I think Mainoo's first touch, his agility, and his balance are better than Casemiro. There, I said it. Come at me in the comment section, but please think carefully about what I said. He's not a better player than Casemiro, far from it. But in these 3 specific abilities, I think he's better already. So let me know what you think. Now, in the first half of that game, there was a period of about 10 minutes from the 30th to the 40th minute where Mainoo was pretty much doing everything for United in that midfield. He had blocks, interceptions, tackles, long balls into the forward line, just absolutely everything. I was totally blown away with what I was seeing, and our first clip here shows you just a glimpse of that. We see Jack Harrison picking up the ball on the left-hand side of the Everton attack, and he's getting ready to put a cross in. As he dribbles forward, you can see Mainoo is staying with him the entire way, trying to keep him covered. As Harrison tries to put a cross in, Mainoo actually stops it with his outstretched boot and puts it out for a corner right there. And look, I know this particular skill seems relatively straightforward. Every footballer should be able to block crosses. But that's just it. We don't see every United player blocking crosses, and our expectations of someone like an experienced Casemiro are different from our expectations of an 18-year-old Mainoo. So simple things like that are really important to see from a young player that's coming through our academy. And look, if that's all he's doing in 5 years' time, I'll eat my words. But for him to be aware and intelligent enough to stop the cross like this could mean the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity on any other day. Now, in the 32nd minute, we see Dominic Calvert-Lewin about to pounce on a loose ball inside our own box and shoot at goal, and Mainoo is just behind him at the edge of the box here. I want you guys to pay attention to his defensive awareness and positioning as we play along throughout this clip. So Calvert-Lewin takes a shot, and Onana ends up parrying it this area over here, and we see that it falls straight to McNeil inside the 6-yard box, and with the right angle, he can easily dink it over Onana into the goal. But Mainoo has a different idea as he clears it off the line from this area here from an on-rushing Everton player and basically saves a goal for United. Again, this is something that's pretty straightforward. You would expect every United player to do this and be aware and get it off the line. But it's also something that you would praise anybody else for doing. So yeah, great job Mainoo for basically saving a goal. Now we're on to the 33rd minute, where we see Doucouré picking up the ball in the final third, with Mainoo just behind him over here, and he has McNeil and Idrissa Gueye in support. As Doucouré plays a through ball into McNeil, McNeil finds himself in tons of space inside the box where he can probably get a shot off into the bottom corner. But Mainoo again has different ideas as he sprints and dives across McNeil over here to block his shot and concede a corner. And can I just say, this wasn't just a block, just like the previous goal line clearance wasn't just a clearance. United this season have been conceding goals left and right, and part of that is because we've been allowing really high quality, high XG shots on our goal, which Onana really can't do much about. So this block, that clearance, and the cross that he blocked are all things that United players have not been doing enough of this season. So kudos to Mainoo for doing all the simple things and getting them right. And lastly, we'll see a great display of maturity from Mainoo in this clip as he covers for a teammate that is out of position. In the 52nd minute, we see that Rashford has lost the ball in the final third, and Harry Maguire, who for some reason is trying to attack from the right wing, is out of position with Everton on the counterattack. As we play along, you can see that Mainoo has recognized the danger and is slowly retreating in this area to cover for Maguire at right centre back. And we also see that Harrison has played a ball in behind for Calvert-Lewin to get onto in the hopes of scoring a goal. But Lindelof ends up winning the header and plays it out to Dalot on the right hand side over here. And as you can see, Mainoo throughout this whole thing is staying calm even though he is out of position as he receives the ball from Dalot. And we see these 4 Everton players that are in and around Mainoo, and they're about to start pressing him as he stays on the ball. So it's very easy for Mainoo to pass it to someone else who's near him or play it back to Onana. But what he does is he calmly plays it forward to Maguire in this area, who's still playing at right wing, by the way, and he effectively takes out 5 Everton players from the game completely. Oh, and by the way, this phase of play is the exact one where Martial receives the ball at the edge of the box and goes down for a penalty, and Ashley Young is almost sent off. He should have been sent off, but he isn't. So Mainoo's pass out to Maguire at this time, in this position, had a real positive impact on the game. Now, as a complete bonus, to those of you that are still watching, I have one more clip of Mainoo from that game. This time, it's him getting into the final third. In the 37th minute, we see Dalot playing the ball through the Everton press into Mainoo, who's pushed past the press into this open space here. As soon as he receives it, again, he turns and drives forward, yet again showing his positive intent on the ball in these areas. And when he doesn't quite find a way to keep going towards the final third, he stops, he slows it down, and he finds Rashford on the right wing. Now, in this space, let's analyze Rashford's options. If the ball has to keep progressing forward, one of McTominay or Mainoo have to make these diagonal runs into spaces behind the Everton backline so that Rashford can find them. So as soon as Everton make the mistake of collapsing on Rashford, you can see all 3 players coming towards Rashford here. Mainoo finds himself in this open space to get into this area in behind. And so Rashford, right on cue, finds him in this area. And right here, I want to point something out. What kind of sucks is that no United player is attacking this specific space towards the near post over here, because it's a very easy cutback for Mainoo if someone's over here. The problem right now is that there's 4 Everton players inside the box and only Martial and Garnacho who are kind of far away. So either one of these guys makes this diagonal run into this space, or preferably one of these midfielders can make this run into this space over here. But Mainoo ends up trying the cutback anyways, and it's quite easily cut out by Everton in this spot over here. And look, I'm not claiming it was the best cutback in the world, but imagine a world where United's attacking patterns are more established and we have a 4th man in the box waiting to pounce on that ball right here in this space. But say we don't even fix our attack anytime soon. The more times that Mainoo gets into these spaces by making those forward runs from midfield, the more he will contribute in an attacking sense to this United team. And trust me, all the best CDMs in the world are also good at attacking from in and around the box. Just look at Casemiro, look at Rodri, Declan Rice, Tchouaméni. The list keeps going. You have to learn how to do a little bit of everything, even if you're a specialist in one position. So what have we learned about Kobbie Mainoo from this video? Look, you can say it was just Everton, it was just Goodison Park, they've been handed a 10-point deduction, all these sorts of if, buts, and maybes that you could bring into it. But for an 18-and-a-half-year-old to put a performance in like that away from home when he's just come back from a long-term injury is something incredible. And we as fans need to support that and celebrate that. As we've seen from this video, Mainoo is fast, he's agile, he has good agility and balance on the ball, he's doing all of the simple things really well and doing some of the difficult things too. And with time, he will further develop some of those difficult things like defensive instincts, defensive awareness, that he already seems to have a lot of for such a young age. So in my opinion, Kobbie Mainoo is definitely a star in the making and is very much the future of Manchester United's midfield. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.